How did one stupid night on a vacation turn into me getting served papers in a public lobby with everyone watching? What did my husband collect in silence while I told people he abandoned me and acted like the victim? Why did the rules suddenly change the moment his legal plan landed in my hands? My name is Verena Talbot, and I used to believe a vacation could fix anything. I worked too much. Ethan worked too much. We had 2 kids, and we lived like we were always late. So when we finally booked Maui, I told myself it was not just a trip, it was proof. Proof that we were still a good couple. Proof that I was still wanted. Proof that I did not waste my best years on a man who forgot how to look at me. The first day, the resort looked like a postcard. The pool was bright, and the water was too blue to feel real. People smiled like they had no problems. Ethan carried our bags like he always did. He moved fast, like the world was a list. Ella held her little beach bag tight. Mason asked where the ice cream was, even before we checked in. I smiled and told them we would get it soon. I wanted pictures right away. I wanted one of Ethan kissing my cheek. I wanted one with the kids jumping. I wanted the kind of photo that makes other people stop scrolling. Ethan looked tired already. He asked if we could do it later. I said later never comes with him. I told him it took 10 seconds. He sighed and stood next to me anyway. At the pool deck, I set my phone on a lounge chair. Ethan sat down in the shade. He watched the kids like a guard. I watched the other couples. The men laughed. Some held their wives close. One woman had a big hat and a drink with fruit in it, and her husband kept touching her hand like he could not stop. I felt a small burn in my chest. I told myself Ethan used to be like that. Ethan asked if I wanted to swim. I said I wanted him to be present. He asked what that meant. I said he knew. He looked confused. That bothered me more than anything. I wanted him to feel guilty. I wanted him to chase. I wanted him to say he was sorry for being boring. When Mason ran toward the shallow end, Ethan stood up fast. He told Mason to slow down. Mason pouted. I said Ethan was always too strict. Ethan said he was just trying to keep him safe. I rolled my eyes and told him he could relax for once. He asked why I always said that. I said because it was true. Later, we went to the resort cafe for lunch. It was open and breezy, with fans and white tables. The kids ate fries and dropped crumbs everywhere. Ethan cleaned up without thinking. I watched him wipe Mason's face. I should have felt warm. Instead, I felt like I was looking at a dad, not a husband. Ethan said he wanted an early night because the kids woke up at 4 a.m. He said we could do a big day tomorrow. He asked if that was okay. I heard something else. I heard that he did not care if I was happy today. I heard that the kids came first and I came last. I told him he was killing the mood. He asked how. I said he always chose sleep over me. He looked at me like I was unfair. That look made me angry, because I hate feeling wrong. I told him he was acting like my father, like a man who thinks work and duty are love. Ethan asked if I really wanted to fight on day 1. I said I wanted him to notice me. After lunch, the kids wanted to go back to the pool. Ethan walked ahead with them. I stayed behind, pretending to adjust my bag. I pulled my phone out and texted my best friend, Marcy Harlow. Marcy had been waiting for vacation gossip, like it was her job. I told her Ethan was already being cold. She asked what I expected from a man who lets himself go inside marriage. I said he used to try. She asked if I was going to let him waste my trip. I said I did not know. When I caught up to Ethan, he was holding both kids' hands. He looked steady and serious. I knew if I pushed him, he would not explode. He would just get quiet. That is what he always did. It made me feel invisible, like my feelings hit a wall and fell to the floor. In the elevator, there were 2 older couples. I smiled at them and stood close to Ethan, like we were fine. Ethan looked at the floor numbers. I asked him sweetly if he was going to ignore me all week. He asked what I meant. I said he knew what he did. One of the women glanced at us. I saw it. I liked it. I liked that Ethan looked like the problem without saying much. Ethan asked if we could talk in the room. I said he only wanted privacy so he could win. In the room, the kids crashed fast. Mason fell asleep with sand still on his legs. Ella watched cartoons, and then drifted off too. Ethan lay down and closed his eyes like someone turned him off. I sat on the edge of the bed with my phone in my hand, waiting for him to reach for me. He did not. He just breathed slow. Ethan asked if I was coming to sleep. I said I needed time. He asked if I was mad. I said he should think about why. He sighed like he was holding something heavy inside. Then he fell asleep. It was that simple. I stared at him and felt insulted. I told myself he did it on purpose. I told myself he wanted me to feel unwanted. I told myself he was selfish. I told myself I deserved better. I scrolled my social media. People liked my pool photo. They commented about paradise. They said I was glowing. I stared at the words and felt nothing. I wanted a different kind of attention. I wanted the kind that makes your skin feel alive. Marcy messaged again. She asked if I was really going to spend the whole trip with a man who treated me like furniture. I said Ethan was just tired. Marcy said tired men still make time when they care. She said I should go downstairs and have a drink. She said I should remember I was a woman, not just a mother. I looked at Ethan sleeping. I noticed he had his phone face down on the nightstand. There was a faint buzz, like a notification, but he did not move. I thought about how calm he always was. I thought about how he always acted like rules mattered more than feelings. I felt like I was living with a judge, not a partner. I slipped out of bed and put on a simple dress. I did not wake the kids. I did not wake Ethan. I told myself it was fine because I was only going for one drink. I told myself adults were allowed to breathe. I told myself Ethan had chosen sleep, so he had no right to complain. The hallway was quiet. The carpet felt soft under my feet. I rode the elevator down alone. The lobby smelled like flowers and sunscreen. The bar had warm lights and soft music. People laughed in little groups. I walked to the counter and ordered something sweet. I held the glass like it was a reward. Then I saw him. He was sitting on a tall chair, not with a group, not loud, not messy. He looked like someone who knew how to watch without looking desperate. He glanced up once, and I felt that small burn again. I told myself it meant nothing. I told myself I was just enjoying the moment. I told myself Ethan had made me do this by not trying. The man asked if I was enjoying the resort. I said yes and smiled like I belonged there. He asked if I was alone. I said my husband was asleep. He nodded like that explained everything. I did not correct him. I did not say I could have gone upstairs. I did not say I had a choice. I only told myself that being seen was not a crime. When he stood up and walked toward the elevators, he looked back once, like he expected me to follow. My heart beat faster than it should. I took one last sip, put my glass down, and walked after him before I could talk myself out of it. I followed him to the elevators, like I was proving something to myself. I told myself I was not doing anything wrong. I told myself I was only taking back a small piece of life. He pressed the button for a higher floor, not ours. I noticed that and still kept walking. My stomach felt tight, but my feet did not stop. In the elevator, the mirrors made us look like strangers. He asked where I was from. I said Canada and laughed like it was easy. He asked if I came with friends. I said my husband was asleep and I needed air. He nodded like he understood. I took that nod as permission, which was unfair, but I wanted it that way. When the doors opened, he walked out first. I walked behind him and watched the carpet pattern, like it mattered. He stopped near a hallway corner, and he asked if I was sure. I said I was sure, even though I was not. I remember thinking that if I hesitated, I would have to admit I was the problem. So I kept going. I will not describe anything private. I only know I crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. I told myself it was a mistake. I told myself it was just a moment. I told myself Ethan pushed me there by choosing sleep and duty over me. I even told myself it was not real because it was a stranger and not love. That logic felt smart at the time. After, I walked back alone. My legs felt shaky. The hallway felt too bright, like the lights were judging me. I held my phone in my hand and kept checking the time. I was scared of the clock more than anything. Time is proof. When I got back to our floor, I moved quietly. I slid the key card into the door and listened. The room was silent except for the soft sound of the air conditioner. Ethan was still asleep. The kids were still asleep. The sight should have calmed me. Instead, it made me mad, like they were all peaceful without me. I went into the bathroom and washed my face. I brushed my teeth too hard. I stared at myself and tried to look normal. I checked my neck, my hair, my dress, like I could erase the night by fixing small things. I told myself I would never do it again. I told myself I would be nicer tomorrow. I told myself I would earn my place back. I slipped into bed. Ethan shifted a little but did not wake. His breathing stayed slow. I watched him and waited for guilt to crush me. It did not crush me. It sat in my chest like a stone. I hated that stone, so I turned it into anger. In the morning, sunlight came through the curtains like it had no idea what happened. Mason woke first and asked for pancakes. I said we would get breakfast soon. Ella asked if we could go to the beach again. I said yes and smiled too wide. Ethan got up slowly. He looked at me longer than usual. He asked if I slept okay. I said I slept fine. He asked why I was not in bed earlier. I said I could not sleep and I went for a walk. He asked where I walked. I said I stayed around the lobby and the path by the fountains. I tried to make it sound boring, so he would stop asking. Ethan went quiet, the way he did when he was thinking. He looked at the room key sleeve on the counter. I had tossed it there without noticing. He asked why there were 2 key sleeves. I said the front desk gave us an extra by mistake. He nodded once, but his eyes did not relax. At breakfast, he did not touch his coffee much. He watched the kids eat, but his attention kept drifting. He asked if I turned my phone off last night. I said the battery died. He asked why I did not use the charger. I said I did not want to wake him. I made it sound like I was considerate. I even felt proud of that lie. Ethan asked one more question, careful and slow. He asked if anything happened that he needed to know. I said no. I said he was acting like I was on trial. I said vacations were supposed to be fun, and he was making it heavy. I blamed his tone, his face, his tiredness. I did anything except face the truth. After breakfast, we walked toward the beach path. The kids ran ahead, chasing each other. Ethan stayed next to me. He asked why I seemed distant. I said he was the distant one. He asked how. I said he did not touch me, did not flirt, did not act like he wanted me. I watched his jaw tighten. I liked that it bothered him. I needed him to feel something because I felt too much. Ethan said he was tired and worried about the kids. He said he thought we could rest and enjoy simple things. I said simple things were not enough for me. I said I wanted to feel chosen, not managed. He asked if that was what this was about. I said yes, like it explained everything. I made it sound noble, like I was fighting for love. We went back toward the lobby to plan the day. Ethan looked at his phone for a long time. He did not show me the screen. He asked where my bracelet was, the one he bought me last year. I said I must have left it in the room. He nodded, but his eyes stayed sharp. Then he did something that surprised me. He said he was taking the kids home today. He said he already found flights. He said the kids needed routine, and he needed space to think. He asked me to stay calm in front of them. He asked me not to argue where people could hear. His voice was not angry. That was the scary part. I laughed like he was joking. I said he was being dramatic. I said he was trying to punish me. Ethan said he was not punishing me. He said he was protecting the kids from tension. He said we could talk later, when we were home, with clear heads. I told him he could not just leave me. He said I was an adult, and I could book a flight too. He said he would pay for the kids' tickets and handle the bags. I told him he was trying to make me look bad. He said he was not trying to make me look anything. He said he wanted peace. At the airline desk, Ethan stayed polite. He asked for seats together for him and the kids. The agent typed and smiled. Ethan thanked her. I stood behind him feeling small and hot, like the air was too thick. I wanted to grab his arm and force him to feel what I felt. I did not, because people were watching and he was calm. Ella asked why we were leaving early. Ethan said we had to go home for work and school. Mason asked if we could still get ice cream. Ethan said yes. He answered them like a steady parent. I hated how normal he made it look. When we reached the point where families split for security, Ethan looked at me. He asked me to take care of myself. He asked me to text when I booked my flight. I said he was acting like a stranger. He said he did not want a scene. He said we would talk later. Then he walked away with the kids, holding their hands, like he was protecting them from me, without saying my name. I stood there with my bag and my phone. My chest felt tight, but I still told myself this was his fault. I still told myself he was cold and controlling. I told myself any woman would have broken under that kind of neglect. I held on to those thoughts like they were a life jacket. A minute later, my screen lit up with a new message from an unknown number. I did not open it right away. I already knew what it was, and I already knew I could not show anyone. I stood at the airport like I was the one being punished. I watched families walk by with matching hats and calm faces. I felt like everyone could see my shame, even though nobody knew. I held my phone and stared at the message preview from the unknown number. It was short. It asked if I got back safe and if I wanted to meet again. I did not reply. I took a screenshot first. I told myself it was only so I could remember the lesson. That was a lie. I kept it because I liked that someone wanted me. When Ethan and the kids came back from security for a quick snack, Ethan did not come close. He stayed on the other side of a pillar, like he was giving me space. He asked if I booked my flight. I said I was working on it. He asked when I planned to fly. I said he did not get to control that too. He looked at the floor for a second and then looked at Ella. He asked Ella if she had her sweater. Ella said yes. His voice was calm. That calm made me feel loud. At the gate, Ethan stood with the kids and kept his hands busy. He wiped Mason's hands with a napkin. He checked Ella's bag. He did not reach for me. I wanted him to reach. I wanted to fight. I wanted him to do something I could point at and call abuse. But he did nothing. He just acted like a man who was done talking. When Mason asked if Mom was coming too, Ethan said Mom would come later. Mason asked why later. Ethan said Mom had to handle some things. Mason nodded like it made sense. I did not like how Ethan spoke about me with care. It made me feel worse than if he had been mean. Before they boarded, Ethan looked at me again. He asked me to keep the kids out of adult problems. I said he was the one creating problems. He asked me to stop posting private things online. I said I had not posted anything private. He said he saw what I posted and it was enough. I asked what he meant. He said we would talk at home. Then he took the kids' hands and walked down the line. I watched them disappear and felt an empty space open in my chest. I filled it fast. I opened my social app and typed a story. I wrote that I got left alone on vacation while my husband slept and acted cold. I added a sad song and a shot of the terminal lights. Within minutes, people replied with angry faces and hearts. Some asked if I was okay. Some said I deserved better. I let that attention warm me. I told myself it proved I was right. I booked a later flight. I chose it on purpose. I wanted time to think. I wanted time to build my story. On the plane, I stared out the window and practiced lines in my head. I told myself the truth was not the whole truth. I told myself the real truth was how Ethan made me feel for years. I decided feelings were the only facts that mattered. When I landed, it was late. The airport smelled like coffee and cleaning spray. I took a rideshare home alone. I sat in the back seat and watched the city lights blur. The driver asked if I had a good trip. I said it was complicated. He asked if everything was okay. I said my husband was being dramatic. I liked saying it to a stranger because he could not correct me. At home, the house felt quiet in a different way. The porch light was on, but the inside lights were dim. I opened the door and stepped in. I expected Ethan to meet me. I expected a talk. I expected anger. Instead, I heard the dishwasher and the soft sound of a cartoon from the living room. Ella was on the couch with a blanket. Mason was half asleep with a toy in his hand. Ethan was sitting in a chair, not on the couch. His posture was straight. His phone was face down on the armrest. A small notebook was on the table. That notebook made my stomach drop. Ethan asked if I was tired. I said yes. He asked if I ate. I said no. He said there was food in the fridge. His voice was polite, like we were co-workers. I told him he was acting cold. He said he was trying to keep the house calm for the kids. I said he was using the kids as an excuse. He did not answer that. He just stood up and carried Mason to bed. When he came back, he asked if we could talk in the kitchen. I said yes, like I was doing him a favor. In the kitchen, I saw 2 mugs on opposite sides of the counter. That felt like a message. I wanted to break something, but I smiled instead. Ethan asked where I went that night at the resort. I said I already told him. He asked why my phone was off and why the location history had a gap. I said he was stalking me. He said he was not stalking. He said he was trying to understand what happened. He asked if I cheated. I felt my face go hot. I did not answer. I asked why he was accusing me. I asked why he always assumed the worst. He said he was not assuming. He said he noticed things and he needed the truth. I said he was obsessed. I said he was insecure. I said he pushed me away and now he was acting surprised. I watched him closely, waiting for him to snap. He did not snap. He just looked tired. He said he did not want to fight. He said he wanted honesty. I told him honesty was not safe with him because he used it to punish. He asked how he punished me. I said by being cold, by sleeping, by making me feel alone. I could hear myself twisting it. I did it anyway. Ethan said he was going to sleep in the guest room. He said the kids needed one steady space right now. I laughed and said he was being dramatic again. He said it was not drama. He said it was boundaries. That word felt like a wall. I hated it. The next day, I went straight into damage control. I called Marcy and told her Ethan left me alone on vacation. She asked if he yelled. I said he did not have to yell to be cruel. I said he did it to shame me. Marcy said I should post more so people would know the truth. I said I would. At work, I walked into the open plan office like I was carrying a heavy secret. My coworker Nina asked how Hawaii was. I said it was beautiful, but my husband ruined it. Nina asked what happened. I said Ethan abandoned me because he was mad for no reason. I kept my voice soft and sad. I let my eyes water. Nina looked shocked and angry on my behalf. That gave me power. By lunch, people were treating me like I was fragile. They asked if I needed help. They asked if I was safe. I said I was fine, but Ethan was being unpredictable. I chose that word on purpose. It made people worry without needing proof. When I got home that evening, Ethan was not in the living room. The kids were doing homework at the table with Diane on video call. Diane asked me if I was okay. I said yes, and I kept my tone tight. Diane said the kids seemed stressed. I said Ethan was creating tension. Diane paused and said she wanted peace for the children. I told her she always sided with her son. Diane said she was siding with stability. Ethan came in from the garage a minute later. He had a faint toner smell on his shirt, like he had been near a printer. He held a plain folder with no label. He set it on the counter and slid it into a drawer that clicked when it shut. I pretended not to notice, but I noticed everything. He asked if I posted about him again. I said I could post whatever I wanted. He said he wanted us to keep adult issues private. I said privacy was how men hide their behavior. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he picked up his phone, tapped once, and set an alarm. I saw the label for half a second before the screen went dark. It said, "Paper drop." I felt a small chill, and I hated that I felt it. I told myself he was just trying to scare me. I told myself he would come back and beg when the attention faded. I told myself I was still in control. But that night, from behind the guest room door, I heard a soft beep like a recording app starting, and then the quiet scratch of a pen on paper. The next week felt like living inside a glass box. Everything looked normal from outside, but inside, I could not breathe. Ethan moved through the house like he was following a plan he did not share. He still made breakfast. He still packed lunches. He still helped Ella with spelling words and reminded Mason to put on socks. But he stopped trying to win me back. He stopped trying to explain himself. That silence made me feel like I was losing something I could not name. On Monday morning, I saw a new wall calendar on the fridge. It was simple and clean. There were blocks marked in neat writing. One block said, "Meeting personal." Another said, "Follow-up." I asked what it was. Ethan said it was just scheduling. I said he was being secretive. He said he was being organized. I decided to push. If Ethan stayed calm, I would make him look cruel. At school pickup, I made sure to stand near other parents. When Ethan pulled into the line, I walked close to the car window and spoke louder than I needed. I said he was acting like I did not exist. He asked me to keep my voice down. I said he was ashamed of me. He said he was trying to keep things calm for the kids. I said he always used the kids as a shield. Ella climbed into the back seat and stared at her hands. Mason asked if we could all go to the park. Ethan said maybe another day. Mason asked why not today. Ethan said today was a busy day. I cut in and said Dad was busy being mad. Ethan did not answer me. He buckled Mason's seatbelt and closed the door gently, like my words were just noise. When we got home, I noticed Ethan had moved his things fully into the guest room. His charger was not in our bedroom anymore. His mug was on the far side of the counter. There were small changes like that everywhere. I told myself he was trying to punish me. I told myself he wanted me to panic. The truth was, I was panicking anyway. That afternoon, I tried to buy new sandals online. My card declined. I tried again. Declined. I felt my face heat up like I was being slapped. I checked my banking app. I saw the joint account balance. It was lower than I expected, but not empty. I saw bill payments and grocery purchases. I also saw that some transfers had been made into an account I did not recognize. I walked into the living room and asked Ethan what he did. He asked what I meant. I said my card did not work, and he knew why. He said the household bills were covered and the kids were covered. He said he moved part of his income for structure. I said he was controlling me. He said he was not controlling me. He said I could still access money for essentials, and he would not argue about it in front of the kids. I told him he was financially abusing me. He looked straight at me and asked me to stop using big words like weapons. I said if he did not want big words, he should not do big actions. He said he was not hiding anything. He said he was protecting the household. The way he said protecting made me feel small, like I was the danger. I called my sister Jade right away. I told her Ethan was cutting me off. She asked what happened on the trip. I said it did not matter, and he was overreacting. She asked if I wrote anything to Noah. I said no. She told me, very fast, to stop texting anything risky and to keep my story simple. She said I should make Ethan look unreasonable. I said I already did. That night, I tried to bait Ethan into a fight. I stood in the kitchen while he loaded the dishwasher. I asked if he wanted a divorce. He said he wanted peace. I said peace was a lazy word for avoidance. He said he would talk when we could talk safely. I asked what safely meant. He said without yelling, without name-calling, and without social media. I laughed and said he wanted to control the whole world. He said he wanted to control his own life. The next day at work, my manager asked if I could step into the small HR room for a quick word. I smiled like nothing was wrong. Inside, my manager said people were worried about me. She said co-workers saw my posts and my comments about my husband. She asked if I was in danger. I told her Ethan was not dangerous, just cold and cruel. I said he left me alone on vacation, and it broke me. My manager asked if I could keep private issues off public channels. I said it was my personal page. She said it still affected work. I walked out feeling insulted. I told myself Ethan must have complained. I told myself he was trying to ruin my reputation. I messaged Marcy and asked if she thought Ethan was doing something behind my back. Marcy said men always do. She said I should post again but smart her. She said I should act calm and make him look unstable. I liked that advice because it matched what I wanted. On Thursday, Ethan suggested counseling. He said it in a flat voice, like it was one item on a list. I said he only wanted counseling so he could say he tried. He said he wanted a safe place to speak. I said the safe place should be our home. He said home was not safe right now because I made things public. We went to a counseling office, near a pharmacy and a coffee shop. The waiting room smelled like mint and old magazines. I watched Ethan sit with his hands folded. He looked calm, and that calm felt like a trick. The counselor asked why we came. Ethan said he wanted honesty and stability for the kids. I said I wanted love and attention. I said Ethan made me feel alone for years. The counselor asked what I meant by alone. I said Ethan worked, slept, and acted like I was extra. Ethan looked at me and asked if I could answer one question. He asked if I cheated. The counselor asked if that was part of the issue. I said Ethan was making it about one night instead of the whole marriage. The counselor asked if it happened. I said I did not want to talk about details. I said Ethan was trying to trap me. Ethan did not raise his voice. He just said he needed truth to decide what to do next. In the parking garage after, I tried again. I told Ethan he was humiliating me by asking those questions. He said he was not humiliating me. He said he was trying to stop guessing. I said he loved guessing because it made him feel powerful. He said he did not feel powerful. He said he felt sad and tired. When we got home, Ella was doing homework at the table. She looked up and asked why Dad slept in the other room. I smiled and said Dad liked quiet. Ethan said he slept there because the house needed calm. Ella asked if we were getting divorced. The word hit me like a slap because it came from a child's mouth. I said no, and I made my voice sweet. Ethan did not say no. He only said we were working on things and that Ella was loved. Later that night, I walked past the guest room and heard Ethan's phone buzz once. I heard the soft click of a drawer closing. I smelled that faint toner smell again, like paper and printer ink. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself he was just being dramatic with his organizing. But then I heard him on a quiet call. He did not say much. He only said he wanted to handle it correctly. He said he wanted to do it the proper way and keep the kids steady. He said he would follow the process. He ended the call, and the house went quiet again. I stood in the hallway with my hand on the wall. I felt anger, but under it, I felt fear. Because Ethan was not trying to win the argument anymore. He was building something I could not talk my way out of. The weekend came, and I decided I needed an audience. Alone with Ethan, my story felt weak. In public, my story felt strong. People fill in blanks for you when they already like you. They choose a villain fast, and they do not ask for proof. So I planned a family dinner at a busy restaurant with a long table. I invited my parents, my sister Jade, and Ethan's parents. I also invited Caleb, Ethan's brother, because I wanted him to see Ethan acting cold. I told myself it was for the kids, for family time. Really, it was for pressure. Before we left, Ethan stood in the hallway and checked the kids' shoes. He asked Ella to bring her sweater. He asked Mason to use the bathroom. He spoke like a calm teacher. I tried to start a fight by asking if he was going to act like a stranger all night. He said he was going to act like a parent. In the car, I turned the music down and asked him to talk. He asked what I wanted to talk about. I said I wanted to talk about how he left me on vacation. He said he did not leave me. He left the situation. I said that was the same. He said it was not. He asked me to keep my voice low because the kids were listening. I said he always cared more about looking good than being good. He did not answer. He kept both hands on the wheel. At the restaurant, the lights were warm and the table was too long, like a meeting. Patricia Talbot hugged me first and asked if I was okay. I said I was trying to be strong. Diane Brooks hugged the kids and asked how school was going. Robert Brooks nodded at Ethan and told him to sit near the kids. Ethan did. When the server came, Ethan ordered for the kids in a normal voice. He asked Mason if he wanted chicken or pasta. Mason said chicken. Ella said pasta. Ethan smiled a small smile. It made my chest twist because it looked like peace. Jade arrived late and sat beside me. She asked under her breath if Ethan had done anything. I said he was playing nice in public. She said that was how men trick people. I liked hearing that because it made me feel less guilty. When the appetizers arrived, Patricia asked what really happened on the trip. I looked at Ethan before I answered, like I was brave. I said Ethan left me alone in the airport after acting cold all week. I said he chose sleep over me and then punished me for being upset. I kept my words soft, like a wounded person. Caleb asked what I meant by punished. I said Ethan cut me off, moved rooms, and treated me like I was dirty. Ethan looked at Caleb and said he was not cutting me off, he was setting structure. Patricia said structure sounded like control. Diane said structure sounded like stability. Patricia said Diane always defended her son. Diane said she defended the children's peace. Ethan did not raise his voice. He waited until the kids were chewing. Then he spoke. He said he did not want to discuss marriage details at a table with children. He asked everyone to keep the kids out of it. I rolled my eyes and said he was using them again. Robert Brooks asked me to stop and let the kids eat. I felt heat rise in my face. I did not like being corrected. I tried a different tactic. I said Ethan had been emotionally absent for years. I said he never initiated affection, never made me feel chosen. Ethan asked if we could talk about that privately later. I said he only wanted privacy so he could avoid shame. Diane said shame was not the goal. Patricia said shame was exactly the point when a man hurts a woman. Ella stared at her plate. Mason swung his legs under the chair. He asked if he could have dessert now. Ethan said yes, after dinner. Mason said okay, and leaned against Ethan's arm for a second. Ethan did not pull away. That small moment made me feel like I was losing the kids too, even though that was not fair. After dinner, Ethan stood and said he was taking the kids home because it was late. Patricia said he always made decisions alone. Ethan said he was making a bedtime decision. Caleb offered to walk them out. Jade pulled her phone out like she might record, and I liked that idea. But Ethan did not give her anything. He just guided the kids to the door and said goodnight to everyone. Outside, near the sidewalk, I followed Ethan. I told him he embarrassed me. He asked how. I said he made me look like a liar. He said he did not call me a liar. He set a boundary. I said boundaries were a punishment. He said boundaries were safety. I asked him if he even cared about me. He said he cared about the mother of his children, and he cared about his own sanity. I asked if that was supposed to be romantic. He said it was supposed to be honest. I felt like he was stripping my power away in plain words. On Tuesday, I saw another change. Ethan's car was backed into the driveway, pointed toward the street. A new key was on his keyring, bright and clean. He told Mason to stay near the porch while he loaded a bag. I asked what the key was for. He said it was for storage. I laughed and said he was being dramatic with secret keys now. He said he was organizing. That same day, I drove to a co-working cafe near my office because I wanted to accidentally see him. I found him there, sitting alone with a laptop. He had a plain folder beside him and a small stack of papers turned face down. I could not read anything. I only saw the edges. A sticky note on the folder said household. I felt a sharp fear and then anger because he looked calm. I sat across from him without asking. He looked up and asked what I needed. I said I needed my husband back. He said he was still a father and still present, but the marriage was not safe right now. I asked what I had to do to make it safe. He said he needed truth and respect. I said respect follows results, and he had not given me results in years. He stared at me like he did not know who I was. He asked if I was going to stop posting about him. I said I could not control what people think. He said I could control what I publish. I said he was trying to silence me. He said he was trying to stop damage. I asked if he was threatening me. He said he was not threatening, he was preparing. That word, preparing, stuck to my skin. I watched him close a tab on his laptop. For a second I saw a map search and words like notary near me and delivery tracking. He clicked out fast. I told myself I imagined it. I told myself it was work. But Ethan's work never looked like that. At home that night, I tried one last push in the driveway while the kids were inside. I stood near his car and blocked the door with my body. I asked if he was going to leave us. He asked me to step aside. I said not until he told me what he was doing. He said he was making sure the kids would be okay, no matter what. I said I was their mother, so they would be okay. He said being a mother did not erase choices. I told him he was acting like a judge again. He said he was acting like a man who learned the hard way. I asked him if he had talked to someone about me. He said he talked to professionals about process and protection, not revenge. I said that was revenge. He said revenge was chaos. He said he wanted order. He opened the driver door and looked at me with a tired, steady face. He said he would not argue in circles anymore. He said he would handle it properly. They told me to meet Ethan at the office tower lobby downtown at 10:30 a.m. He said it was about a schedule for the kids. I dressed like I was going to win. I wore a blazer and a calm face. I brought Jade with me because I did not want to stand alone. Jade said I should not let Ethan control the setting. I said he would not dare do anything in public. The lobby was bright and cold. People walked through with coffee and badges. There was a security desk and a row of chairs. Ethan stood near a pillar with his hands at his sides. He was not smiling. He was not shaking either. Diane was there too, standing a little behind him, like she belonged in calm places. I felt my stomach twist, but I told myself it was just theater. Ethan asked if I was ready to talk like adults. I said I was always the adult. He said he wanted the kids protected from conflict. I said he created conflict by leaving me on vacation. He did not answer that. He looked past me, toward the lobby doors. A woman in plain clothes walked up, holding a clipboard. She asked if I was Verena Talbot. I said yes and laughed, like it was silly. She said she had legal documents for me. I said she had the wrong person. She read my full name again, with my date of birth. Jade's eyes got wide. People nearby slowed down, pretending not to listen. The woman handed me a thick packet. The paper felt heavier than it should. I flipped the first page and saw the words that made my vision blur. It was a divorce petition. It said Ethan Brooks was the petitioner. It listed our names like we were strangers. It listed our children like points on a chart. I felt heat rush into my face. I said Ethan was doing this to punish me. Ethan said he was doing it to create order. I said he was trying to ruin my life. He said he was trying to stop the damage. The woman told me I had been served and that I did not need to sign anything. I skimmed faster. There were temporary orders. They were not a suggestion. They were structured rules that started now. There was a temporary parenting schedule with clear exchange times and school pickup responsibilities. There were limits on moving money and new debt. There were instructions about the home, about access, about how we would communicate. There was a section about public posts. It said I had to stop making harmful claims and remove specific content. My throat went dry. I tried to smile. I told Jay that Ethan was being dramatic and that the court would laugh. Ethan did not react. He only pointed to an attachment list. It referenced screenshots of my stories, dates and times, airline confirmations, bank entries, and message logs. It did not show every detail right there, but it said enough. My chest tightened like a hand closed around it. Patricia rushed in late, already angry. She asked what was happening. I said Ethan ambushed me. Diane said this was not an ambush, it was process. Patricia started to argue with security.